Good morning. Yesterday, I took a trade on euro dollar, which I'm going to be explaining in a second. And for the rest, of course, the major dollar pairs and gold. So let's dive in. Looking at euro dollar, what has been going on? Well, as we can clearly see, we are currently stalling inside this area of demand. The overall fractal low is still being respected over here. And this is currently our fractal high positioned over here. So we're just ranging in between this low and this high. Obviously, I would like to see a further push in towards the highs today, coming in towards this area of supply to then look for a potential short in towards the downside, in towards this area of demand, from where I'm then again happy to take a trade. Because then overall as well, what I would see forming is this descending channel slash wedge, which I would then like to go long on, because then we have that 1, that 2, and then I would like to see a fake out on that second low slash tap in towards this area of demand, from where I would be happy to go long. So if we then go long, then obviously we've formed supply over here, which broke this low. And then that is going to be kind of like the deciding zone if we're either going to head down or if we're going to head up further in towards the highs. So that's pretty much that for euro dollar. For the rest, what I want to show you guys is the trade that I took yesterday, because obviously I was looking for longs and I did in fact take a long over here on euro dollar. So it's a break even trade for myself. Obviously moving in towards the downside, what can we see? We came in with this descending structure, lower lows and lower highs. Then what happened is that we got a break of structure on the 15-minute time frame in towards the highs. So from that point, I was pretty much looking for a long. And what I wanted to see was a pullback. So yesterday morning, somewhere over here, I was looking for that pullback in towards the downside. So once price reached this area of demand, because we had either this area of demand and this area of demand, we had liquidation upon these lows over here. So we had, first of all, the liquidation. Next to that, we pretty much pulled back in towards the overall discount. So in towards the 50% mark. So I'm always happy to just take the 50% mark as a zone. Doesn't need to be the specific level. And obviously we had our entry model, and of course we were bullish. And we had our entry model over here in demand, and we had that change of character happen. If we just zoom in real quick, we had this low get broken. And then we had this high over here, which was pretty much the candle which broke the low. And then we pushed in towards the highs, with this being your area of demand over here. So we got that pullback in towards demand from where I went long. So then, as we can see over here, at the end, I hit break even on this trade. We pulled back in towards the downside, exactly in towards that area of demand. But yeah, we saw some follow through. But then when I went in towards the 5 minute, where I was managing the trade, I saw this happen where we had that initial consolidation push up. Then we saw these equal lows over here, which I was very confident were going to get taken out. So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. Next to that, we were also trading against the overall internal 50-minute trend. And as we can see, the overall 50-minute trend played out in towards the downside. Hence why I was a little bit more aggressive, also with red folder news coming out. So this buy before the sell, push down, pull back, and then again push down. So now what has happened this morning, again, we had that buy before the sell over here. As your area of supply, we push in and we push back down. So euro dollar is going to move down lower for the rest of today, it seems, until we can break this overall internal structure. So at the moment, the internal structure is in theory from this high in towards this low. So what I would want to see is a break of that high, a pullback, and then I'll be looking for a long on euro dollar. Obviously, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, then just trade this internal structure, which is forming over here. So this was the high, this is the low, this is now the high, and this is now the low. So just wait for this. So that's something that you could also look for on euro dollar overall. So yeah, that's that. Still expecting further upside as long as this low over here is respected. If we break that low, obviously we'll push in towards here, from where we can then in turn look for longs. So moving on in towards the dollar index. Let me just get it right. So the dollar index. So the dollar index overall still respecting pretty much what we drew out yesterday. Change of character after tapping in towards this higher time frame area of supply, pushing towards the downside, pullback, and then a push down. However, now still waiting for follow through in towards the downside. Obviously, we're seeing that slowdown over here inside this higher time frame area of supply. So it would make sense for the dollar index to push down lower. If it does, we all know what we're looking for, this area of demand. But we could already see price stall inside this area of demand as well, this doji candle, from where we could see a potential reaction. So this is what I'm looking for on the dollar index. If we do push down lower, obviously, if we do break this high, then we'll just see higher prices. So moving on in towards Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar over here, what is happening? Pretty much what we want to see. We have this over here, this low. This is your swing low, so we never broke below it. So once we reach the swing low, obviously we're looking for highs because you're all the way in the extreme of the overall range from this high and this low. So you do expect higher prices. Again, as well, we had kind of the internal structure, which is still bearish in towards the downside. So you get the push down, pull back, push down, and then you get that pullback and then again a push down. So this is kind of like your internal high. This was the internal break of structure. Since the break of this low over here, we've never seen like a real pullback. So obviously the market is overextended in towards the downside. So you do expect a push back in towards the highs. If we base it on 4-hour internal structure, overall the 4-hour swing structure obviously is looking to move up higher. So there's a lot of confluence for those longs on Aussie dollar. Now moving in towards a lower time frame, you guys know I was mentioning I don't want to see or I'm not going to take those longs from over here because there's no clear close above it, above the line over here. So it's lower probability for myself. But now what has happened again, we were just continuing with the overall order flow. So now this over here is your area of demand on the 4-hour. And as we can see, we push out clean, then we push back in, and then we get that push out again. So pretty nice price action over here on Aussie dollar. The only area of real resistance that I'm looking at the moment is obviously this buy before the sell. So yeah, we of course saw that initial reaction. There was a reason for it because we got that buy before the sell. But now what I'm looking for is just that upside continuation as long as this low over here is respected. If we respect this low, then we should just continue up higher, and I'll be looking for something like this on Aussie dollar over here or over here. But obviously if we do break this low, then straight away I do expect that we'll tank in towards the downside and reach this larger area of daily demand. So yeah, take that into account. You can look for longs today on Aussie dollar as long as that low is respected, in my opinion. Now, pound dollar, guys. So what is pound dollar doing? We're obviously still kind of inside this daily range. However, that's not really interesting to look at. What is interesting to look at is the 4-hour time frame. Because overall, again, the 4-hour entry model, which I explained in detail inside Discord, is playing out or has played out. The only reason why I didn't take it because was the risk reward was a little bit crap. So I focused mainly on this 50-minute trade, obviously with the 1 to 3 that hit TP, and I explained in yesterday's video. Now, overall, what is happening is that we've now reached this higher time frame area of supply. So for me, the overall higher time frame objective is now complete. So what I'm now looking for is to see, are we ready for that downside continuation? Because as I mentioned in yesterday's video, there are now 2 zones. We've pulled back in towards the 50% mark. That's kind of like number 1. Next to that, we've pulled back in towards higher time frame supply. So this is supply zone number 1. This is supply zone number 2 from where you want to look for shorts in towards the downside. Now, what I'm seeing as well is this corrective price action, which will be much more clear on the 15-minute. So now going in towards the 15-minute, what you'll see is that we have a beautiful ascending channel, right? So we get that push up, then we get this boom, 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 and now boom. So now what I'm looking for is a break of the low over here. If we break this low, I will be looking for shorts on pound dollar. Obviously, the 50-minute trend is now still bullish, so we're seeing some bullish price action over here. And it could mean that, yeah, pound dollar is just ready to now push up higher even still and just continue with what it's been doing. But from experience, I know that there is now some probability that we are going to change in the overall structure. But for that to happen, I need to break this low over here. So if we break this low, it's critical because this is going to be the 15-minute swing low, and it's also going to be your 4-hour fractal low. If we break that low, then yeah, I'm ready to short the living hell out of pound dollar. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm not looking for longs at the moment. Not high probability for myself. If we do push up higher, I'll just let it rip and I'll wait for this area of supply over here to then look for a short on pound dollar. So moving on in towards NZDUSD, Kiwi dollar. So NZDUSD over here is just playing ping pong in between these zones. So in between this area of demand and this area of supply. Obviously, we're just following order flow, right? So the overall order flow was still bearish. So you can take these kind of shorts. But again, you're just squeezing in these trades. Risk reward is never really prime. You would be like up again 1.5%. Still money though if you take it with 2% risk. But obviously after a break of structure, what do you expect? You expect a pullback. But I mean, as long as the overall order flow just remains bearish, so buy before the sell, push down, pull back, push down. You just expect price to head down lower. But as we know, after break of structure, we do expect a pullback. Where does the pullback come from? It comes from either an area of demand or it comes from an internal shift in structure. So what I'm now looking for is to see, okay, is this price action now going to continue? Are we now going to see a further push down? If we do, we could just continue down lower. If you want to see a pullback in towards here or in towards whatever lies over there, and you want to see that 4-hour pullback, then we have to wait for this high to break, because this is the main 4-hour high for now. As long as that high is respected, we are still bearish in my opinion. Now moving in towards the 15-minute time frame, where you can see as well, let me just quickly check. Well, it does look like we have had a 50-minute shift. So the 50-minute is kind of different from what the 4-hour is doing. So overall, we got a break of structure in towards the highs over here. Now we've got this descending corrective price action. So if we do break this high, you could look for premature buys on New Zealand dollar as soon as we see that pullback in towards the downside. So keep an eye open for that. That is what I would keep my eyes open for as well. You can see like very clear descending trend in towards the downside. So let's see if we do break this this high over here. If you break that high, then you can potentially already look for those premature buys. It's not for me real high probability, but yeah, it could work out for sure because of the overextended move in towards the downside and the 15-minute price action that we're seeing. For the rest, I don't really see any clean areas of demand over here, so I do prefer to see a reaction from this in towards the highs, because then we'll get some cleaner setups overall on NZDUSD. And of course, we're also inside the daily extreme. This is your daily swing low and this is your daily swing high. So we've now pulled back in towards the daily swing low, so you do expect further upside. Moving on in towards gold, last of all. So gold has been pushing up higher. Sadly, just missed out on my area of demand over there. Going in towards the 4-hour, we've now seen a change of character on the 4-hour. So that means that we can see higher prices. Obviously, after 4-hour break of structure, what do you expect? You expect to pull back in towards the highs. So now that we've broken this fractal high, now you have this area of demand over here, or you have this lower area of demand over here, from where we can then look to long gold in towards the highs. With this fresh area of supply, for example, positioned over there as your first target, and then over here you have your second target. So that's what I'm looking for on gold. Hope you enjoyed this video. Wish you all a fantastic day, guys, and we will speak soon. Thanks.